Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter with our WWE WrestleMania 37 preview and predictions. Man, we got two huge cards on Saturday and Sunday, the biggest show of the year for WWE, and they are back in business. We're going to have fans there live for the first time in over a year. So we have a jam-packed preview ready for you guys. First of all, I have with me an esteemed colleague, a editor over at Fightful Wrestling, co-host of the Distraction podcast. This man is very insightful, witty, and he's a great basketball fan as well. So he's the one, the only, Jeremy Lambert. What's going on?
God, what an intro. Can I hire you to just do my intros? Esteemed. I don't know about all that. I'm doing like leg drops and super kicks on my show. I'm just an idiot, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the intro. I'm well. How are you, SB3?
I am doing great, sir. I am doing well. And your guillotine leg drop is on par with Psychosis. I do have to give you that. I did see it. It was wonderful. So we got two big cards, WrestleMania 37, night 1 and night 2. So we have another co-host. We are just waiting on him to join us as well. But man, what do you feel about the two-night WrestleMania in general? Are you a fan of 2 nights of WrestleMania, or do you prefer just one-night cards?
I'm fine with 2 nights. One-night shows they're so long. Like, they don't end until like past midnight and stuff. I don't need my wrestling going past like 11. I don't like when AEW does it. Just anything past 11, I'm like checked out. So I like the 2 nights. As long as it wraps up by 11, I'm fine with it.
Yes. Like as long as we're good on that end, I think that we will be fine. Excuse me. But we got
person. That's Bruce. That's Bruce getting the call.
I know. I feel like I'm like getting called up. We got the co-host. He's calling us live. What's going on, brother?
Oh, I'm calling you live
now? Yes. Yeah. Get on now.
So I'm on now.
No. Get on the link. Okay, I would just come out and then come back in because maybe it's like not working for you right now, but I would just retry it one more time. All right. No worries. I this is live television. This is live YouTube for you guys. All right. Okay. He's getting on right now, Jeremy.
This is my fault. I'm going to apologize. Everyone knows who watches The Distraction. They know all about our technical issues. It's clear it's a me problem, and I just take them no matter which show I go to. So you can put this on me. I'm sorry. Sportskeeda. I'm sorry, SB3.
Hey. I'm going to take the heat for this regardless, so it's fine. It's fine, Jeremy. But yes, put in the comment section what you guys think about the 2-night WrestleMania, what you think about all the matches on the card. We got 14 matches to get through in about an hour, so I hope you guys stay tuned with us. If you are watching on YouTube right now, drop us a like, comment in the live chat, and let us know your predictions for WrestleMania 37, night 1 and night 2. Also put in the comments on Facebook and Twitter. Share this video with all your wrestling fans and friends. We got over 50 people, 60 people watching us on Facebook right now, and only 1 like. You need to drop those drop those heart emoji. If you are angry about WrestleMania, I want to see an angry emoji. Give us any emotion you are feeling in those comments. And finally, we have our third host here with us. I got to give him the grand intro before he even joins the stream here. He is a wrestling legend, a genius in the backstage area, and a former manager. You might have seen him on WWE in recent years as Zeb Coulter, but he is an absolute icon in professional wrestling. The one, the only, Dutch Mantell. What's going on, Dutch?
Well, thanks, Sid, but I want everybody to know that Sid is a prolific liar. that was a great build-up, but I don't believe a damn word of it. So anyway, hey, guys, I've never done this before, so and all the people watching, they will see this as a trial and error. So we were live and die by our mistakes. But I'm glad to be here and talking wrestling. is one of my favorite things to do if I'm talking to knowledgeable people. I mean, I've talked to some people who don't know a damn thing about it, and so I just quit talking to them. But so if you want to get started, let's get started on this thing, because I got some views I think the people should hear.
Yes, you already told us a little bit before we went live here, so I can't wait to just get into the card. We're going to dive right in, and Dutch, we're going to actually talk about someone you're very, very familiar with, because on night one of WrestleMania, one of the big matches on the card is a certain individual's first ever singles match at WrestleMania, as it's going to be Cesaro going one-on-one with the former WWE and Universal Champion, Seth Rollins. Cesaro has basically been talked down to by Seth Rollins, saying that he's accomplished so much, while Cesaro has pretty much been a failure in his WWE career. And it's all been building up to this big one-on-one clash. Cesaro's first singles match since coming into WWE in 2012. Dutch, you managed Cesaro in the past. What is your views on Cesaro overall with his WWE career and this match with Seth Rollins?
Okay, if there's one guy that WWE totally missed the boat with, it's Cesaro. Because here you got a guy, and I told you a little earlier before we went on air, that here's a guy that speaks 5 languages, European, probably the strongest guy per pound in the WWE, a tremendous athlete. And I think if they had taken him and went like a James Bond route with him, dress him up, because he's a very classy guy, speaks well, and they missed the boat with Cesaro, totally. I mean, he was with me, and all of a sudden they just yanked him from me and put him with Paul Heyman, and they thought that was going to help him. It actually hurt him, because I think Cesaro, when he was with We the People, when he was with the Real Americans, me and Jack, he was over, because the We the People thing got a reaction from the crowd. Because I'm going to be like Andy Kaufman. Now, Andy Kaufman, I called him a comedian one time. He said, "Oh, I'm not a comedian." And I started to say, "Well, you're right on that, because you're damn sure not funny." But he says I'm a sketch artist, which I want to get a reaction from the crowd. Well, he did that. But every time the Real Americans went out, I don't care where we were, we always got a reaction. So when he was with Jack and I, he was over. When they took him out and tried to do something else with him, you know, they even put him over in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania, but it still didn't. I don't think it still helped him. And he's in a lesser position than he was 5 years ago or 6 years ago. So in this match, I expect a tremendous match. But I think they got their marbles. Are we picking winners now or no?
Yeah. You go ahead. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. Who you got?
And I don't see any difference in the trajectory of Mr. Cesaro. I think he'll be on the losing end of this, because they got so much equity wrapped up in Seth Rollins, and I think he'll emerge the victor. And another thing about this card, I got it written down here, but there is no sizzle about this card at all. No sizzle, because if you have a main event that's strong enough, it doesn't matter what your underneath matches are. I mean, you got to have good ones, but I think your main event will carry you. But see, I don't see the main event on here that's has a bunch of any push behind it, because I don't feel this card, and I'm not saying it's not the guy's fault, but it's the people who put it together. And of course, I think I'm agreeing with everybody else, because wrestling is not the same as it was 2 years ago. Do you think it is or no?
No, I mean, it's lost a lot due to, stars turnover, as well as the crowd not being there. It's changed so much. You're right. Like the last 2 years, even when you look at wrestling in 2019, it's so much different than it is now.
Well, you have to throw the COVID-19 experience in here too.
Yeah.
Because what you do when you have a live crowd, if you're watching it, that's how I used to book. I booked on chemistry. I listened to the fans. And if they would get excited about some guy they didn't even know, well, that he's got chemistry with them. Let's do something with him. But now you're sitting out there with cut out, card
virtual
boxes, of people, and they piping sound in. So you don't know what is getting over and what is not getting over. So they're really booking blindly. Is what they're doing, and you can tell a blind man did this card. So that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I think about Cesaro. I love him to death. So if they would get behind him, I think you'd see a lot of production out of Cesaro.
100%. But you're going with Seth at WrestleMania Night 1. Jeremy, who you got? Seth versus Seth Rollins.
I hope Cesaro wins. I was at WrestleMania 30 when he dumped the Big Show over the top rope, picked him up, slammed him over the top rope. It felt like a star-making moment. And if you had told me after that night, 7 years later, this would be Cesaro's first singles match, I would not have believed you, because the reaction he got in that moment was one of the biggest pops of the night. And 7 years later, he's finally getting his first singles match. I'm with Dutch. They completely missed the boat on Cesaro. Do you know why? Like, were you given a reason of, hey, we're going to put him with Paul Heyman now? Because you're right. That hurt him more because Heyman had just managed Brock, and it wasn't the right pairing.
The reason I got kind of pissed me off. They said, well, we want him to get over. I went, well, what the fuck? Excuse my language. Can I say that here?
We'll go ahead. We'll go ahead. They'll edit it on the replay.
I mean, what the hell? I mean, you're gonna put him with Heyman, thinking Heyman can get him over more than I can. That's fine. You own the company. I just didn't agree with it because I didn't vocalize that, of course, but I didn't understand it. So, but then they took him and still didn't do anything with him. So. Yeah. I mean, you can do anything you want, but you gotta. This is what WWE is missing. This is what AEW is missing. That's what MLW?
MLW, yeah.
And I think Ring of Honor, but they're missing story. There's no story that you can follow. Now, if you watch Netflix, you watch Amazon, Hulu, whatever. I'm watching a tremendous series right now called City on a Hill. You ever seen it?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I've heard of it.
It's tremendous because they get you wrapped up in the story. And here's another thing I think is wrong with WWE. They got too many guys. I mean, you cannot, to me, if I was booking 80 guys, how are you going to book 80 guys? You can't book an 80-member football team because they're not going to get to play. See what I mean? But you're trying to book 80 guys and do what with them? I mean, you've got numbers. You can make big cards like this, but where's your story?
None of them are getting over.
Is there any story you're interested in at all?
Well, we'll get to a match that I am interested on night 1 of WrestleMania. I'll give my prediction for Cesaro and Seth Rollins. Like Jeremy, I'm gonna be optimistic with my prediction here, and I'm gonna go with Cesaro to get the win. I just feel like he needs it more. Seth doesn't need it. Seth is already over. He's already a star to them, so Cesaro should get the win here. But Dutch, you wanted some sizzle. WWE doesn't have their own created stars, so they have to go to the mainstream route. So they have gotten the 2020 Spotify Artist of the Year, the 2021 Grammy Award winner, Bad Bunny, to team with Damian Priest to verse The Miz and John Morrison. This all started at the Royal Rumble. Bad Bunny came in for a musical performance. He started a beef with The Miz. Well, The Miz started it with him, wanting him to basically work with him, but he wouldn't. They bashed up his equipment, and Bad Bunny got revenge on him, doing a plancha off the top ropes onto both Miz and John Morrison. They've been feuding ever since then. Bad Bunny has really been there consistently ever since the Royal Rumble, and it's all going to culminate in this tag team match. Bad Bunny with a really good promo for a rookie as far as wrestling goes, and really showed a lot of passion in his promo on Monday Night Raw. But we got this big tag team match here. Who wins? Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. Jeremy, we'll get your prediction first.
I mean, Bad Bunny's winning, right? Like, I don't think there's any other choice here. The celebrity comes in. The celebrity typically goes over in these matches. I think he's going to be good too. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. I think he'll be good.
Yes, he's been training in the PC for about 4 months now. Dutch, what is your opinion on basically them using a musical artist in this way at WrestleMania? And then what is your prediction for Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison?
Well, I'm going to say the same thing Jeremy's going to say. And this is one thing that's wrong with WWE too, I think, is because they're so predictable. Because you can predict this, because Bad Bunny's not going to come in and lose. Because I think Damian Priest is a tremendous talent. They got big plans for him. I think this is a big kickoff point for Damian Priest. And The Miz and John Morrison, it doesn't matter whether it's not going to help them if they win at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably helps them more if they lose, because The Miz is such a whiner and he's such a little biatch that it actually helps him to get beat, because then he can pitch his fit and carry on, and the people like to see that. I'm going to pick Damian Priest wins it and Bunny gets the cover.
I like it. I agree with you guys. I am the special counsel for the ethnic celebrity chief, Bad Bunny. So I have to go for Bad Bunny in this one. So we got to move on. Tag team turmoil, guys. We got Lana and Naomi, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, the Riot Squad of Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, Natalya and Tamina, and possibly more teams, since this is a tag team turmoil. It's going to start with 2 teams. Another team will come out after one team is eliminated until one final team is left standing, and they will verse the women's tag team champions on night 2 of WrestleMania. Dutch, what's your thoughts on the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, them bringing those titles in, and then who you got in tag team turmoil?
Wait a minute. Let me flip a coin. And this is, it's almost one of those, who cares? I don't think any of these, nothing against the girls, because I started the girls in TNA. I'm a big fan of the girls, but this has more, well, it doesn't have any sizzle, but it has more sizzle than it has effectiveness. Because I don't think anybody cares, to tell you the truth. I'm going to go with, how many teams are in this?
They've announced 4. They screwed up, and there's a 5th one.
I like the Riot Squad.
You like the Riot Squad to get the win?
Yeah, I just like them.
They're the only real team in here, too.
And,
how dare you?
They're heels, right?
No, they're actually baby faces.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're heels bordering on baby faces, if they still were. I think the people like them, and I think they'd get a big pop if the Riot Squad went over. I like the name too, so yeah, that's what I'm predicting. But then again, we can all predict, guys. But then on the day of the show, if Vince comes in there and says, "Well, I don't like it," come get in here, guys. Let's rewrite the thing.
Do you have any memorable instances where he did that to you, or one of your guys? Well,
one time, I forgot, it was a Raw. It was Jack and Cesaro. They were together. And they changed the finish in the middle of the match. So I'm standing, and they didn't tell me, because I wasn't involved in it anyway, so I didn't really need to know. And I thought Jack and Cesaro were going over, and all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, and the Usos get their hands raised. I said, what the hell happened? They said, well, they changed it in the middle of the match. It was only like a 5-minute match, 6-minute match, and all of a sudden, So, yeah, if they can do that, I mean, they can do anything they want to. So it doesn't matter what the creative team thinks. It's what Vince thinks. And he's the boss, and that's the way it is. So, and if you work there, that's what you got to accept, because if you don't, that's the way it is. So you might as well walk out the door. But, yeah, they've done that a lot of times. And I remember times at Raw, we walk in and what are we doing? What are we doing? Well, we're rewriting it. Rewrite. You rewriting the show. Yeah, Vince didn't like it. He come in. He thought about it last night and come in, and they're rewriting the show. So this is how you determine Vince's mood. If you go, and I always use the creative team, because I would walk in and the creative team, when I walked by the room they were in, if they were going doo-doo-doo-da-da, and they were smiling and laughing, you knew Vince was either in a good mood or he wasn't there. Then when you walk by, they're like this. You know, Vince is hitting the rooftops. He's cussing them all out, and they all running scared.
So you gauge the mood of the backstage area by the writing team.
That's how I check the temperature of the mood right there, because they would tell me everything I need to know. So I picked Riot Squad.
Love it. Jeremy, who you got in Tag Team Turmoil?
I think best for the division is Riot Squad. Best for storytelling is Lana and Naomi. So Lana can pin Nia at night 2, which means Tamina and Natalya will probably win.
I love that. That's a great explanation right there. I'm gonna go with Carmella to accept Billie Kay's resume and be her tag team partner, and they're gonna win. They're gonna be a surprise team and
it's not a surprise. SP3. Let's not lie to the people. They already spoiled this on .com.
It's the battle for Reginald on night 2.
They already ruined this. They're gonna ruin this.
Sid, you ignorant slut.
That just made my day. I just got called an ignorant slut by Dutch Mantell. Absolutely. Jobber, head of PR and #1 fan of the distraction. He says Dutch loves the people. Great guy. We got our boy Jose Gonzalez in the chat saying Bad Bunny, maybe. We and to give you the juxtaposition, we got Tom Whitehouse saying Bad Bunny just sucks. So it's polarizing. He's like John Cena in 2006. You know, he's got the Bad Bunny sucks, go Bad Bunny chants going back and forth. I love it. And yes, we got Jose shouting out his nickname, the Ethnic Celebrity Chief, and he's calling for Carmella and Billie Kay or Bayley to get the win here. And I guess Michael Mason wants it to be a bra and panties, so Mandy and Dana win by seeing Mandy and Dana lose. We got some interesting opinions in the live chat here, but we got to move on to the next matchup. It's going to be a steel cage match in what has been probably the most maligned of all the WrestleMania buildups. Yes, I am talking about Shane McMahon going one-on-one with Braun Strowman inside of a steel cage. These two men have been feuding since about Elimination Chamber, when Braun wasn't put into the Elimination Chamber match. He got into a conflict with Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon responded by calling him stupid, having a long, drawn-out promo where he said about 12 words in 20 minutes. And we've seen green slime, or as we've heard here on Sportskeeda Wrestling before, it's actually ring lubricant. So Braun got lubed. We've had fake report cards, a lot of stuff that did not really make a lot of fans happy, but we come here for the matchup, which I'm sure they will try their best to deliver here. But we got Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. Who you got, Jeremy?
Shane, he's the best in the world, right? This idiot Braun Strowman ain't beating him. Shane's the best in the world. Braun will run, Shane will move, Braun will throw himself through the cage, and Braun's probably gonna win. Who could possibly care about this match?
Not too many. You're just proving Dutch's point here, but Dutch, who you got, Braun versus Shane?
Well, this is another thing, because believability is thrown out the window. When you put in the ring with a 400 or 300-pound guy like Strowman, or however you say his name, with Shane, how old is Shane? He's 50, right?
Yeah.
He's 50 years old.
At least.
I mean, so if you think logically about it, I think, Braun needs to go over, and he needs to go over strong. What I'd like to see is, him just Shane go in there and do something to him, throw him in his eyes right off the bat, just beat the crap out of him, have him make one comeback, and boom, let's go. And you end up carting out Shane, and he's hurt. And you call the ambulance and you put him in there. That's the story I would go with. So I got to say Strowman, Braun.
Yeah.
How do you say his name? Strowman?
Strowman, yep. So I'm gonna agree with you.
I would go with him. And I mean, because if you do that to Shane, if he wants heat back on him, you got the TV every week. So now I think Shane could go find him a big monster to take Strowman out. Because they started the story, and it's almost like a Bobby Heenan or a Jimmy Hart. They get hurt, but now he's got all this money. He goes, hires him a hitman, and they could bring a hitman a weekend against Strowman and give him a story. So I don't know. What else are they going to do with him?
They should do nothing with Shane. That's what they should do with him. Get him off television.
I detect some animosity there.
I could totally see though Shane bringing in a monster because he already did with like Dabba-Kato during the whole Raw Underground thing. So I could see them bringing him back to verse Braun after WrestleMania. So that's actually a good idea.
Well, that's what I do because they can't have a return off this. Where do you go from a cage? It's the wrap up. But see, but it doesn't have to be the wrap up to the story. The story can continue. This is just a chapter of it. So you take this and put your guy you're going to go with over strong, and then everything that follows this is new. So you can restart it. Now you're rewriting the story again. That's what I do. Yeah. But then again, you can say, well, yeah, Dutch, but you don't have a job. I said, oh yeah, that is right. Probably nobody wants me to book for them anymore. So anyway,
hey, they need to.
Who do you think? Who do you think, Sid?
I'm gonna go with Braun Strowman. It just makes sense. Braun Strowman get the win here, get himself over more on the WrestleMania stage. He beat Goldberg last year. It wouldn't make sense for him to lose to Shane McMahon this year. Just saying. No. We've got to move on.
But if you look at it, he goes against Lesnar, right?
Yeah.
And now he's down with Shane.
It's true.
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes they think these things up to give somebody something to do.
To be fair, Dutch, this is the same guy that has teamed with an 8-year-old at WrestleMania and beat up some comedians from Saturday Night Live at another WrestleMania. So the bar is pretty low for Braun Strowman.
They think this is a big spot for Braun. They love Shane. He's the boss's son. They love him.
They do like him.
Yeah.
He is a character. But he's the type that he can get heat. He can get almost more heat than their top heels.
Yeah.
You see, because he just disliked. And one of the reasons is he's the boss's kid. See, when Vince McMahon come out and he was the boss, the chairman of the board, he's all this, he had more heat than anybody I've seen in the last 20 years. All he had to do was walk out there. And then Shane walk out there with him, he'd have the same heat because he got heat by osmosis.
Yeah.
He got genetic heat because he was just related to him. And then when Stephanie walked out there, she got heat. The whole family got heat. And that's something that you cannot manufacture. It's there. It's in the DNA somehow, and the fans feel it. So I would beat Shane and have him come back with something. That's what I would do.
Sounds like a good plan. And plus, Braun needs something for after this to keep the momentum going. So let's move on to our next match for the Raw Tag Team titles. Is going to be AJ Styles and the debuting Omos versus the New Day of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. This was going to be Omos' in-ring debut after coming to the main roster of the WWE as a bouncer in Raw Underground. He then transitioned to the bodyguard of AJ Styles. He's been in his corner since about November of last year, and it's all been built into this huge opportunity for him on the grandest stage of them all. Dutch, who you got? AJ Styles and Omos versus the New Day.
I think the New Day bites the bullet on this one because it's his debut. He can't go out there and lose because I think, and almost he's like 7'3", right?
Yeah, he's really tall.
He's like the giant. He's a giant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go with AJ, and because AJ will do most of the work, and New Day, they've been together how long? 5 years. I mean, they can afford the loss. It doesn't hurt them. Almost needs the momentum because I don't know what they got planned for him, but I'm sure that he is just with AJ right now, and then he'll split off from AJ. So I got to go with AJ and Omos on this one. I think everybody else would say the same thing.
Yeah. How does it feel to kind of, you've seen AJ early in his career being, backstage with TNA. How does it feel to kind of see him at WrestleMania and being a former WWE champion and all the success he's gotten in the WWE?
Oh, I love AJ. And I knew when he was with TNA how good he was. See, he had a chance to go to WWE before TNA. They just didn't offer him enough money. I mean, they offered him it was like NXT money. They almost treated him like a rookie. He'd been in the business 3 or 4 years by that time, but just working independence. But he was a very, very good in-ring technician. Even then, he did things that was way above his experience level. And he understood what he needed to do, and he was believable in doing it. He's just a natural. He was a natural from day one. So, but I pick AJ and Omos in this one because that's the only thing they can do. If they do anything else, and it cannot be a complicated finish, it's got to be a real simple finish. Because I'm almost afraid to even watch this match, to tell you the truth. Because, they might want to put but I'm sure that Kofi and Xavier, they'll make this guy look like a killer. Because they're good too. They're very good in the ring. So
I'm sure that the 3 guys are gonna make sure to make Omos look good here. But I agree with you, Dutch. AJ and Omos get the win. Jeremy, how about you? Who you got for the Raw Tag Team titles?
AJ has lost 3 straight matches on television, which means he's definitely winning at the pay-per-view. Kofi and Woods will bump their asses off for Omos. AJ will do the bulk of the in-ring work. It'll probably be pretty good, actually. And AJ and Omos are winning. I don't see any other way this goes.
I don't either.
Absolutely. So let's move on to what's seeming like a double main event for WrestleMania Night 1. You got the SmackDown Women's Championship will be on the line as Sasha Banks will defend against the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble winner, Bianca Belair. There's been a lot of people campaigning for this to be the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania. Sasha Banks has even gone as far as to publicly say to WWE Germany that it's going to be the main event of WrestleMania. But then again, Tom Phillips on Raw said that the other match that we're going to talk about for Night 1 is the main event. So we'll just talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship here. Who you got? Sasha versus Bianca in what will be a very historic big-time matchup for the women's division and women's wrestling in general. Jeremy, we'll go to you first.
I haven't cared for the build of this match until like the last week or so, but I expect this to be a great match. Sasha is, I think, the best female performer of all time, and Bianca is very good as well. So I'm gonna go with Sasha. I don't know why. Everyone seems to want to crown Bianca, and I think Bianca will have her time. I think this is kind of Sasha's moment.
I mean, she is what, 0-5, 0-4 at WrestleMania.
Dutch is not happy. He's not happy with going with Sasha. Sasha's younger than Bianca.
Oh my God.
People forget this.
No,
she is. She's what, 28?
But what I would do in this one, it's a toss-up. And I was thinking about it. Bianca, she's got time. Sasha, this is her moment, and she's already said this should be the main event of WrestleMania. She's partially right, I think, because but I think they'll have a great match. And that Bianca Belair, she's a good-looking girl, really good-looking girl. and I think she's got a lot of fans, and Sasha has hers too. But I think it'll be a great match, like you said, and I'm almost inclined to say Bianca, but she doesn't need it right now. Maybe too soon for her. And Sasha, I think she escapes victorious, but maybe a tricky finish.
This is a very interesting match to predict because, like I said, Sasha has never won at WrestleMania. She's on her longest title run of her career. She seems like she's at the biggest point possible. You know, she has a whole bunch of star power coming off of her appearances on The Mandalorian. She's doing big things outside of WWE. But I just feel like you got to strike while the iron is hot, and Bianca Belair is the play here. You go with Bianca Belair, you make her a star in this position, especially if it's in the main event of WrestleMania. You want this crowning moment, so I think that it should be Bianca. I totally agree with Jeremy. It feels like they've been actively trying to make this not feel like a WrestleMania main event. They have made this about them. Can they coexist? Can they get the women's tag team titles when they're 0-5 as a team? Whether they're dealing with Reginald, the sommelier. It's not been about the characters that they built up, the Boss and the EST of WWE, which are strong female characters. These are two people of color that would be in the main event of WrestleMania. WWE loves these history-making matchups, so make it feel like it. They got one more SmackDown to kind of try to make it feel a little bit more important, but I just want them to try. I know the ladies will perform well and have a great match, but yes, I'm going with Bianca Belair here. So that brings us, Dutch, Jeremy, to the other part of our main event.
We've murdered Dutch Mantell about 3 different times on this show.
Okay.
We're killing this man.
So y'all going with Bianca?
I'm going with Bianca. He's going with Sasha.
Oh, okay.
You're going with Bianca, right?
No, I said it was a toss-up.
Okay.
I just don't want to be wrong. So, hey, is this show taped? I want to come back. I said, well, I told you she was going to win from the beginning.
Everybody's going to message you afterwards and be like, how could you pick this person? You're an idiot. That's what they do to us all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I am an idiot, so I'm not going to disagree with them. So, but it will be a great match. And the beauty of this match, guys, from a creative standpoint, it's easy to book.
Yeah. Don't tell them that.
No, it is easy to book because it doesn't matter. And Bianca, like you say, Sid, that's her moment. She wins. Now they elevate her from here to here in one night. Yeah. But the other train of thought, is that Sasha's already here, and now Bianca's finding her way there. So either way, I think you're gonna have a winner in this one.
Yeah, that's the number one thing. Like either result, it's not a bad result. It's good either way. So let's go on to the other main event from Monday Night Raw for the WWE Championship. It's going to be Bobby Lashley defending against the former champion, Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley won the WWE Championship a little over a month ago against The Miz after The Miz cashed in Money in the Bank on Drew McIntyre back at the Elimination Chamber after Drew won the Elimination Chamber match and Bobby Lashley attacked him. It was a whole ploy and a master plan by MVP and The Miz, which caused Bobby Lashley to become the almighty WWE Champion. And now he versus Drew McIntyre. Drew gets to have his first WWE Championship matchup in front of fans. So a huge opportunity for both men here, whether it's the beginning of the show or main event of the show. But that is my question for you guys. Dutch, what do you think? Do you think this match should kick off the show or main event the show? And who you got, Drew versus Bobby Lashley?
I like the girls, being the main event. I think they got more sizzle behind them than Lashley and McIntyre does. But in Lashley and McIntyre, I think I got to go with Lashley because I think he's the one that can carry it. Because what is the situation with Lesnar? Is he coming back or what?
No one seems to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would go with. I think they went with McIntyre. But then again, this is WWE. They can sour on you in a heartbeat. It only takes 10 seconds. You know how sometimes you guys get lost in companies, not necessarily WWE, but the entire wrestling profession. People don't have to come in and like the boss says, how was so-and-so the other week? And they don't got to say he's terrible, he's this. They just got to do this. Like, well, that's it. If he's, let's just get somebody else. But I'm going to go with Lashley in this because he's with the Hurt Business. And are they trying to break the Hurt Business up?
They've already broken the Hurt Business up.
That's another thing. They don't let it grow on the vine long enough for it to get ready to be ripe. They pull it off half ripe, so they lose the whole flavor of it. But I think if they beat Lashley here, you can just say the Hurt Business. They're just another team. Nothing to them. I'm going to go with Lashley in this one.
Jeremy, who you got? Lashley versus McIntyre.
I'm with Dutch. I think this should open, and Sasha and Bianca should close. I want Lashley to win. I think the wise move would be having Lashley win. Drew's going to win. They're going to give Drew that moment of get the pop in front of the crowd. He'll do his reaching out thing. He's touching all the fans. They love that stuff. Drew's probably going to win, get the pop. Lashley should win. Lashley's one of the hottest things they got going. Hurt Business, one of the hottest things they got going, which means they'll stop it and they'll end it.
They killed the Hurt Business, which was the best thing on Monday Night Raw because they want Lashley to get this. I mean, they want McIntyre to get this big pop when he beats Lashley at WrestleMania. So, yes, I'm going to agree with Jeremy. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre to win. But I do agree with Dutch. Lashley, he should win. He definitely should win. He's the hotter star. He's the star to make right now. He's got a whole bunch of momentum. And this may backfire because I don't know whether people realize it or not. Drew McIntyre is getting like the John Cena booking, like playbook, like page for page. Like he's winning handicap matches. He's looking strong. He comes out and does the goodwill promos. Like Drew is turning into the UK John Cena. So this may backfire on WWE, especially if they cut the legs off of Lashley, in my opinion. But we got a couple of good questions in the live chat here. We got one for Dutch from Owen Churchill. He says, when Dutch worked with Lashley and McIntyre in Impact Wrestling, did he ever think they could end up in a future spot at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship? Dutch?
Did I think that? Not necessarily. Hell, I didn't think past next week. I was trying to book next week's TV. I wasn't trying to think 3 or 4 years ahead. But Lashley had already been there, so he had the in, and McIntyre had already been there too. But they still needed not necessarily a lot of work. They just need somebody to get behind them. So was it unthinkable that they could have Lashley back and McIntyre back? Not unthinkable. It can happen. And I'm saying that, yeah, I thought it was possible. Absolutely.
Yes, guys are that talented. You got to think it's possible. We got one, Jose Gonzalez saying, does Shane jump from the pirate ship? I'm going to say no, because it is a steel cage match, and that's going to be reserved for Kevin Owens, in my opinion.
That would be if they busted through that cage and went up on the pirate ship and threw him off of it. That'd be that'd be a great spot. Or shoot him out of the cannon.
There we go.
Back into the ring. That's what I
think. Yeah. Now we're talking.
Now
I
we're
like
thinking.
That. That should be an entrance for somebody. Just get shot out of the cannon right into the ring. Love that.
You know, during the Super Bowl, they weren't allowed to use the cannon.
Cowards.
Did you know that? Because Tampa Bay was in it, and it's like a home field type deal.
Yeah.
They banned the cannon. So
disappointing. We got Raju saying, what do you guys think of the train noises? Jeremy, I'll ask you this one. What do you think about Braun Strowman and his train noises?
It's awesome. What do you want me to say? Like, it's great. It's so hokey that like I can't help but just smile at it. You gotta grin. You gotta grin at that stuff.
It's fair. It's fair. And then we got your good brother, Jeremy, Joe Pearl, saying Dexter Lumis as Shane's surrogate moving forward in the story. He wants the big push for Dexter Lumis, he seems. What we got to move on to night 2 of WrestleMania. Yes, 2 nights, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time on the Peacock Network. We got night 2 of WrestleMania and a whole bunch
of... I have a question.
Yeah.
I think that they've added more tickets, haven't they?
Yes. There's still tickets available for WrestleMania. They got like single day tickets, not the packages anymore.
Okay, so they could have. They were blocked at 20,000, something like 20,000. Now they're up to 40, maybe 50,000. How much does that stadium seat?
No, I don't think they're allowed to go over 25. That's what they said.
Calling me a liar?
I'm just saying what Stephanie McMahon said. Are we calling Stephanie McMahon a liar?
I've been on the show one day, and now you're already calling me a liar.
I've called Dutch Mantell a liar. We've killed him 2 or 3 times already.
Yeah,
Dutch is just never going to speak to me again.
No, but I think they are over that. They've added more tickets, so I think they may be up to 30 or 40,000 now. I mean, if they can get that many to come,
yeah,
on this late notice. Because Florida's wide open anyway. I mean, they blocked it for the Super Bowl, but it's wide open right now.
Yeah, they're opening things up more, but at least Jeremy, you weren't called an ignorant slut by Dutch Mantell like I was. We got day 2. We're gonna start off with a one that I am looking forward to. Absolutely one of my favorite tag teams from old school Ring of Honor independent wrestling. We got Kevin Owens going one-on-one with Sami Zayn. This feud all started due to Sami Zayn's controversy, the conspiracy against him and his documentary, and Kevin Owens not getting that there was a conspiracy against Sami Zayn, so he had to kick some sense into his former friend. This caused Owens to challenge Zayn for a match at WrestleMania. And then Zayn had his premiere of his trailer for the documentary, and he had YouTube sensation influencer Logan Paul come out for his premiere, and he's invited him as a guest at WrestleMania. So a pretty big spot with a celebrity involvement in this matchup. So who you got? Owens versus Zayn. We'll start with you, Dutch.
Well, you just gave me the story, so I'm thinking now Sami Zayn with Logan Paul. Why would you bring him, not use him? So I think it's a big, he gets screwed by Logan Paul, and he makes a big splash the first night in, and now it takes Owens on a new path. It sends Logan Paul off to something, and Sami Zayn's involved. So the story you told me almost give me the finish. That's what I think.
All right, so we got one for Sami Zayn. We'll go with you, Jeremy. Who you got?
I think Sami's going to win because of the Logan Paul stuff, and then Kevin will get his heat back by stunning Logan Paul. That's where I think this ends up going. I hope Kevin Owens gets his moment and gets to jump off the pirate ship, though. He's been wanting this for a year. Give that man his moment and let him jump off the pirate ship.
We got in the comments on YouTube, 5th Generation Carney saying this match is going to be awesome. He also says, I hope Owens takes a Logan Paul punch to the chin. I think that Owens is going to beat Sami Zayn. He's going to get the win here. And Logan Paul is Mike Tyson at WrestleMania 14, and Sami Zayn is Shawn Michaels. And we get the punch from Logan Paul to Sami Zayn after the match. So it continues that he invited a guy to WrestleMania who screwed him over. So the conspiracy continues against Sami Zayn. That's what I think.
I like that. I like that.
Good guess. That's a good one. Hey, it could end up. Okay, but where is it going? Where do you think that Owens and Paul end up? Boxing match?
I think Logan Paul. I mean, they could do Logan Paul versus Sami Zayn. I would watch that. I would buy that, especially on the next pay-per-view. I would see that. But I could see them even going down the route of like Owens continuing with Sami Zayn and him trying to like bring him back to the side of good, and them eventually being a tag team together, because we really haven't seen Owens and Zayn as a tag team in WWE yet.
And one thing about Zayn and Owens, you can tell a story with them.
Yeah,
they
have so much history.
To me, they're good in story, and they know what to do. So interesting,
absolutely, for sure. Let's continue on to our next match, which has its own story.
Oh no, Sid is frozen.
We're gonna talk about. Am I okay? Am I good now?
Yeah, you're a little choppy.
We're gonna talk about.
Go ahead.
We're going to talk about Randy Orton versus The Fiend on night 2 of WrestleMania. Jeremy is excited to talk about this one. This one has been a roller coaster, to say the least. The Fiend was haunting Randy Orton for months. Then Randy Orton had his match with The Fiend at TLC, the Firefly Inferno match, where Randy Orton set The Fiend on fire, never to be seen again. He's been haunted by Alexa Bliss. She's made him throw up black glue. He's seen a clone of himself. He's got a fireball thrown at his face. So many different things have gone on in this feud. And then finally, at Fastlane, The Fiend returned the burnt Fiend, crispy Fiend, and cost Randy Orton his match against Alexa Bliss. So who you got? Orton versus The Fiend. That big grin by Jeremy means I have to start with him. Who you got?
The maggots are going to return. We're going to have the maggots on the mat in this match. We've done Inferno matches and all this nonsense, and then they're just going to go out there and lock up, do some crisp headlocks, tackle, drop down, give and go, do it again, all that stuff. Cannot wait for this match. The Fiend's winning. My guy, The Fiend. He's going over here. This is going to be the best match on the show. Let's go.
Your excitement just humors me way too much. Dutch, who do you have? Fiend versus Randy Orton. And what's your thoughts on the more like spooky type of horror storylines like the WWE Universe have seen with The Fiend and Randy Orton?
Well, I don't necessarily like it, but I'm not the arbiter of that. I mean, what's going to decide this is the marketplace. And if there's a place for it, they're going to use it. But this is something that is very creative. And whatever they might do, I don't think it will shock anyone. But if you're looking for a winner, I would maybe give it back. Alexa Bliss is going to be heavily involved in this somehow, some way. And I think that Randy Orton goes over. I think. And The Fiend gets his heat back on him right at the end.
All right, so we got one for Orton, one for The Fiend. So I guess I'm the tiebreaker here. I really wish this was a Firefly Funhouse. Like I've been being okay with a lot of this craziness because I was like, we get a Firefly Funhouse with reference.
What type of match is this?
This is a regular
singles match.
That's what I said. It's a regular wrestling match.
It could be a pre-taped match, and they can do all this stuff. It's already done. See what I mean?
Yeah, they could make it like a Falls Count Anywhere and start it out in the ring and then go backstage and stuff. But they do want to do like a Fiend entrance in front of the fans since it's the first time in a year.
Yeah, well, they can do that. And then take it backstage, like you say, and have them drive off in the car and end up at some farm. They could start it early. This is the crazy deal. They start it early, and all of a sudden they drive out. Where do they go? Then later on the show, they go back. Now they're on some farm somewhere, and they have the match. They could come back to it 30 minutes later. Now they've gotten to where they're going to go, and then they have their match. And I think the fans would buy that. I would buy it. I say, well, that's just me, though.
Jeremy's like way too excited by your idea.
Let's do that. Let's have this kickoff night 2. They wrestle in the ring. They go back, and then they just disappear until the next pay-per-view. Let's have this match end at the next pay-per-view. I think that's what we need to do. And we just don't know where they're at for a month or so. Because Bray Wyatt, my man, the creative layer genius, Bray Wyatt, he loves taking them weeks off. If he can finesse his way into another month off of television, be like, we're just still fighting, and then return at the next pay-per-view, he'll do it. Bless the genius, Bray Wyatt. Dutch, you got any dealings with the layer genius, Bray Wyatt?
Well, I just know him. I don't know him that well, but I wasn't around him that much when I was there before. But I kind of liked the Firehouse match was Firefly. What they call that?
Firefly Funhouse.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
But, see, this is another deal you can do anything with. Because believability, who gives a shit? I mean, just let's produce it, and I think the fans will buy this. I do like starting the match, and then all of a sudden they just drive out of the stadium. One's in one car, one's in another car, and they take off.
Oh, they don't need to drive anywhere. They just disappear. It's Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. He just pulls them down to a portal of hell, and they're just gone.
They go up.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
let's do it.
We're cooking with oil with the Fiend, baby.
Let's do it.
Oh my God, y'all got better ideas than WWE creative. I will give you on that. We gotta go next. I think I picked the Fiend. I picked the Fiend to win here. We're gonna go next to the women's tag team title match. It's gonna be Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax versus the winner of Tag Team Turmoil on night 1. So, Dutch, you predicted the Riot Squad to win on night 1. So who do you have winning Riot Squad versus Shayna and Nia?
Riot Squad.
Riot Squad, you think they're going to take it all the way? All right.
That's what I think.
Sounds good. Jeremy, you predicted for Lana and Naomi to get the win. And you said it's the whole payoff for Lana's storyline. So who you got here against Shayna and Nia?
I think whoever wins night 1 ends up winning night 2. So if it's Riot Squad, Lana, Naomi, or Tamina, I think they're gonna do Tamina and Nia, the big stare down, the WrestleMania sign in the background, Hogan, Andre all over again, and big pop. Whoever wins night 1 wins night 2.
Yeah, I could see that. So I got Carmella and Billie Kay getting the victory here. Yes. I'm going to see Billie Kay be victorious at WrestleMania again. The United States Championship is going to be on the line as Riddle will defend against Sheamus. These two men have had banger after banger on Monday Night Raw. Sheamus got this matchup by getting a victory over the U.S. champion. So who wins here at WrestleMania? Riddle versus Sheamus. Let's start with Jeremy this time.
I'm going to go with Riddle. I don't really have a good feel on this. It could go either way. I'm going to go with Riddle. They seem to really like Riddle.
Yeah, they seem to be very heavy on him, especially with the backstage segments. Dutch, who you got, Riddle or Sheamus?
Oh, I don't know. I don't get Riddle. I don't. But then again, I don't know how much merchandise he's selling. So I think that since he is the babyface, he's going to sell more merchandise than Sheamus. I like Sheamus winning. But Sheamus has been there, 10 years?
Yeah.
Riddle is new. So go with the new kid. He's a new toy. Let's play with Riddle for a while. And then when we get another heel, get him warmed up, and we'll put him over Riddle. I'll go with Riddle on this one. Against my better judgment. But I don't know where Sheamus can – I don't know where he can go at this point. So I think it'll be Riddle.
I think there's going to be a lot of title changes over the 2-night WrestleMania.
I'd change every title. I'd change it all.
I don't. I feel like sometimes...
I'd even change announcers every other match. And then have them go back in the middle of the match and change outfits and come back out again. You never know what can happen here.
I feel like we're like in a creative meeting here between you, Jeremy.
That's the way creative meetings go.
Yeah.
Somebody have an idea and then Vince, whoa, what do you think there, Sid? And you come up with something, God damn, I like it. Let's do it. Then somebody else has an idea. Oh, I like that. So, but then it comes back to what the original idea is about halved in two and added some more to it, so you don't know where you started and where you ended.
We gotta make that a segment on Sportskeeda Wrestling, the creative room with Dutch Mantell. So let's move on to another. Well, like I said, I think Riddle is gonna get the victory here because I don't see all the titles changing on WrestleMania weekend. But we got to talk about another title match for the Intercontinental Championship. Excuse me. We got Big E defending against Apollo Crews. These two men have been feuding for the past couple of months. Apollo Crews is 0-6 in Intercontinental Championship opportunities, but he's now made a change in his persona. He is now embracing his Nigerian background. He's got armed guards to protect him because he is Nigerian wealth. He is a part of the Nigerian wealthy, and him and Big E had a match at Fastlane with Big E getting the victory, but Apollo Crews attacked him after the match, and then he challenged Big E to a Nigerian drum fight. So we have not gotten rules on what this will be about. All we've heard is that it might be like a lumberjack match, but people around the ring banging drums. Like, yeah. I don't know what's going on here, Doug, to be honest with you. I don't know what a Nigerian drum fight is. They have not explained it to me. But who wins Big E versus Apollo Crews Nigerian drum fight?
You asking me?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Big E, even though it's the drum fight. I don't even know what it is. So if I was in the match, I said, how can you prepare for a match if you don't know what the rules are? And if they don't tell you what the rules are, I don't get that. I mean, has Apollo Crews, has he done anything outside the ring to set up this match? Has he described what a drum match is and what they used it for?
All we got was the promo making the challenge, really.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I think I haven't seen the build up to it, but I think Big E, since they beat, I think Kofi and Xavier the night before, I think they'll put him over here. Not that has anything to do with it, but I think there's more zip to Big E than there is to Apollo. So
I can agree that there's more long-term future for Big E than Apollo there. Jeremy, who you got, Big E or Apollo?
It feels like Apollo needs to win because he lost at Fastlane and they seem behind this gimmick a little bit. At the same time, I don't think Big E should be losing to anybody ever, and he should win the world title very soon. So I hope Big E wins. I think they're going to go with Apollo.
I think Apollo Crews should have won at Fastlane. I think it would have made the build-up going into WrestleMania stronger. So I'm going to go with them to, of course, pull the trigger a little too late and Apollo Crews to win here. I think Big E is in for a big future. I think he's a future guy that's going to be a contender for the Universal Championship, but he's got to lose the Intercontinental title to get there. So that's why I'm going with that. So we got JJ in the comments section saying, talking about our theory for Fiend and Orton, like Goldust and Piper from Mania 12. Yeah, pretty much like that. They just went off. We got the first part of the match and then the second part of the match, like after like 5 other matches. John Elite says, the reason I think this isn't a cinematic type match is because this is the first show with fans. Yeah, they want to do the Fiend entrance. They want to have the fans in front of them and they don't want them to watch a screen. So I can understand that. We got Zayn Jaffrey saying, any chance for Shayna and Nia to break up at Mania? What do you think, Jeremy?
No, they probably should, but they'll do that on the Raw the next night, assuming they lose the titles. They won't do it at Mania.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate. Michael Mason saying Riddle will have live birds release during his flip-flop entrance. Yes, basically Riddle does an entrance where he has his flip-flops fly off and birds, like animated birds, come out on the screen. What do you think about that, Dutch?
Oh, I love it. I haven't seen it. I guess I need to watch these shows more, you know. But I told the guys when I started here, guys, I'm unfamiliar with Raw and SmackDown. I'm gonna be doing the SmackDown show, I guess, starting Friday, and I guess I'll have to watch that. I have to watch that show. So, but I'll have more comments on that. But hey, wrestling has changed so much in the last just 3 years.
Yeah.
Forget 20, forget 10. Now everything is different, and anything is possible. So, but you think wrestling is as popular now as it was then 3 or 4 years ago?
Not even 3 or 4 years ago. Never, yeah, like you said, don't even think about 20 years ago. We got Kyrene Jeets saying, Dutch, my man, guys on WWE's current roster you would love to manage.
Well, who's on the roster?
Dutch, we've run down an entire WrestleMania card with 50 people on it.
I would like to manage. Let me go back and manage Cesaro.
All right.
That would work for a while.
And that worked so well.
Yeah, it did. I think it worked. It worked too well, to tell you the truth, because it was working on its own. I'm going to tell you guys a story. You went to WrestleMania 30.
Yep.
You said. We were in like a 4-way match to open the show, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was the Real Americans versus the
Usos.
Who else was in that match? I've only had like 6,000 matches, guys, so I can't remember stuff. But I remember when the Real Americans lost, we were leaving the ring, and it was like this, like it's like you just took the air out of the room. And I told Jack and Cesaro, I said, "Do you hear that?" And they said, "Hear what?" I said, "Exactly. You're not hearing anything." Because now they were the favorites. Everybody wanted to win. And when they were eliminated, it's nothing to look forward to. But I don't know. I've only been to business like 50 years, so I don't know anything. But I would like to manage Cesaro again. I love that guy.
Absolutely. I would love to see that. We got Rise Over here. If Zeb Coulter gets inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame, who would he like to induct him? Who would you like to induct you into the WWE Hall of Fame, Dutch?
Vince McMahon.
You can't even thank Vince at the Hall of Fame ceremony. He's not going to induct anybody.
That's who I'd want to do it, because nobody else has done it. So, and
I
then
like
I would like birds to fly off the ceiling, you know, and everybody to get doused with water, you know, just to make it different, you know, and then have some seats electrified where you could push a button and they would jump up. It's just different stuff. You need to be remembered for different stuff. Who would I like to induct me? Bradshaw would be a good one. Kane would be a good one, because Kane thanked me on his. I got a lot of stories about him. He thanked me the other night on his Hall of Fame induction, and congratulations to him. But Kane would be a good one. Undertaker would be a good one. I was best man at his wedding. So I got some candidates. We'd have to think about that. But will I ever go in the Hall of Fame? What do you think? Hell no.
I think you should. Like, whether it's on camera or behind the scenes, you've contributed a lot. So I would love to see it.
Well, I did contribute a lot, I thought, but not what I think is what they think. So, but I would accept it, and I would get up there and I'd make the shortest speech ever. Thanks very much. You would have fit in perfect with this year's Hall of Fame. That's the timing that they wanted for most of the speeches. So short? Well, they got so many.
Yeah.
What year was it they inducted Mr. T?
That was WrestleMania 30 year.
I think it was 29.
What's it? I think it's like either 29 or 30.
It was in New Jersey, so.
Okay.
Zeb, I might be calling you a liar here, Zeb.
Well, if you do it again, if you do it one more time, that'll be the second time you've done it in the show.
I'm gonna look this up.
But I thought Mr. T would never finish. I'm sitting out there, I'm going, God, please wrap it up. And he thanked his mother, his mama. I bet he thanked her 30 times.
Yeah, he did.
And I told somebody, I said, I think he likes his mother. So
You think?
and he just
What?
went on and on and on with it. So, but
Mr. T was inducted class of 2014. What year was WrestleMania 30? 2014. I would like my praise. Would like an apology.
hey, history is not my strong suit anyway. I can't even tell you when World War II was fought. I can't even tell you who the president is. To tell you the truth, I don't give a crap. But okay, it was 2000. It was
14 was Mr. T.
WrestleMania 30. Okay,
Yeah.
You're right.
Thank you.
I went there in 13.
Nice.
I got a good story about that too.
Oh,
I won't tell it now.
we got to definitely get to that for sure, either today or on Smack Talk. Well, we got to talk about the semi-main event for night 2 of WrestleMania 37. That is for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka defending against Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley recently debuted on the WWE main roster and challenged Asuka to this match at WrestleMania. Asuka has not been the best booked WWE superstar. Probably one of the worst booked Raw Women's Champion in the history of this title over the past 5 years. But we know these two ladies will deliver in the ring. So who you got? Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. Let's start with you, Jeremy.
I'm going Rhea because I don't know what's left for Asuka after this. I wish they would do more with her. Poor Asuka. But I think Rhea, they changed the title to start anew and then go from there. The only way I see Asuka winning is if they really want to put that title on Charlotte. And so they come back and Charlotte comes back to night after Raw or night after WrestleMania on Raw and challenges Asuka.
I can see that happening for sure. Dutch, who you got? Asuka versus Rhea Ripley.
Got to think about this now. Hey, I like that Asuka girl. I think she's great. I think there's money in that girl. I think they have equity wrapped into her. And the Ripley girl, I haven't seen her that much. See, I'm talking blind here, basically. But I like that Asuka girl because I think there's a lot to her. I don't think they've even taken her out of the box, really. I don't think they've done enough with her from what I've seen. But I do like her because she's different. And who's the heel in this? Rhea?
Yeah, Rhea turned heel on Monday Night Raw this week when they were tag team partners. She turned on her because they couldn't coexist.
Well, this is, again, another toss-up. I don't think anybody can pick it. You know, you can say, well, I want Asuka to win. I want Rhea to win. But I think for business, I think Rhea will win and to take it to another round, another chapter. So I think you're looking at a Rhea Ripley win here.
Seems like a solid pick there. I'm going to agree with Dutch and say Rhea Ripley gets the victory, becomes the new Raw Women's Champion because, yeah, like they don't care about Asuka, it seems. We all care about Asuka, but they don't seem like they do. So we got to go with the odds here, folks. And yes, Rhea Ripley gets the victory. And then finally, Jeremy, Dutch, we have the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, defends the WWE Universal Championship against the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble winner Edge and Daniel Bryan. Edge, of course, gained this opportunity by winning the Men's Royal Rumble this year, coming from number 1 to defeat everyone in the matchup and win. Coming back from injury last year and having his shot at WrestleMania to get the title he never lost, or the title he never even won, the Universal title. But anyway, then we have Roman Reigns, the best character in WWE, the tribal chief with Paul Heyman, Jey Uso, putting on great matches on every pay-per-view. And then we have Daniel Bryan, who was screwed at Elimination Chamber when he won the Elimination Chamber match. He followed up right after and lost to Roman Reigns because he choked him out immediately following the matchup. Then he had his match at Fastlane where he made Roman Reigns tap out for the first time, but the referee was down. Edge interfered, and Roman Reigns got the victory. So he talked his way into this triple threat. And it feels like we're in 2014 all over again. You guys laid it up for me. You guys gave me the perfect segue because a returning superstar comes back as a babyface, wins the Royal Rumble. Immediately, I guess fans don't like it or are against it. He has to turn heel. Daniel Bryan has to be injected and makes this a triple threat in the main event of WrestleMania. It's like WrestleMania 30 all over again. So who do you got, Dutch? Roman, Daniel Bryan, or Edge?
Well, damn, the way you described it, I changed back and forth 2 or 3 times. I said, yeah, that sounds hey, that sounds good. No, let's do it this freaking way. I think they're going to stay with Roman. I really do. So, but then there's a downside. Then what are you going to do with Edge, and what are you going to do with these guys? I mean, I don't know where they go with this story from here, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with Roman.
I think that's a good.
Can you see me sitting at a WWE creative meeting going, God damn, Vince, I don't know where to go with this. Damn, you got me confused. Blah, blah, blah. That's one thing that's one thing not to be at a WWE creative meeting. Just don't be, even if you're dead wrong, stay with it. I mean, just say, I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you. And eventually it'll fall your way. You roll the dice, you'll win. And then you can always come in and say, well, I tried to tell you, but no, nobody will listen to me. So if you have an opinion in the creative meeting, stay with it. So I'm going to go with Roman because he seems to be their guy.
He does 100% of the way. And I'm going to agree with Dutch and say Roman Reigns wins. I've been here on Sports Keto Wrestling YouTube channel and said I think Edge is going to win this triple threat because Vince McMahon loves him the nostalgia button. He loves him a returning star and win the world championship immediately. But now that Edge is a heel, he's been against Daniel Bryan. It's very easy for them to keep the title on Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns can tail off to somebody else on the roster, and you can continue the feud between Edge and Daniel Bryan because you haven't done the one-on-one match between them. And you can get a few months out of that feud because Edge can blame Daniel Bryan for, him not winning the Universal Championship here at WrestleMania. So there's a lot for them to get out of that feud, and it doesn't need the Universal Championship. So I'm going with Roman Reigns here. Jeremy, end us off. Who you got, Roman, Bryan, or Edge?
I got to go with Roman as well. It's Roman or Bryan for me. Either Roman wins, retains, or Bryan pins Edge, and then Roman can feud with Bryan one-on-one. Edge winning, I don't know, feels like it'd be a heel thing, and then Roman and Edge, heel versus heel. I don't know how that's going to work. It seems like that's the least options moving forward if Edge wins. So I think Roman and Bryan, you have more creative directions depending on who wins there. And so I think that's where it's going to go.
Good picks all along. We all agree on the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania. A few more comments I want to highlight before we give our plugs to close this preview out. We got JJ asking Dutch which of Undertaker's weddings it was, Sarah or Michelle?
It was the first one.
There we go. We also got JJ saying Ripley just to end Asuka's miserable title reign. We got Lee Bowden saying Asuka wins, Becky returns, Rhea wins, Flair returns. So he says we're getting a return either way. He also says Edge wins by pinning DB. We got Zayn Jafir saying if Roman retains, who will challenge him after Mania? Jeremy, who you got to challenge Roman after Mania?
It depends on who Roman pins, right? Because the person who isn't pinned can just claim that they weren't pinned and they should get a fair opportunity. Bryan can say, I beat you at Fastlane one-on-one, you tapped. Edge can say, I should have had my one-on-one match at Mania. Bryan got entered, and so you go from there. So I think it just depends on who gets pinned.
Dutch, who do you think Roman versus after Mania?
I think Big E.
There you go. That's much better than my answer.
Well, because you're just repeating yourself to me. I think if you stay with the Edge and the O'Brien thing, and because now Roman Reigns gets a new opponent, and Big E's never had a shot, has he?
No.
Because now you're dealing with something new. Because I would go with Big E. I put Big E over Strong. I put Roman on Strong. I would keep Edge and Bryan together, and then it's completely new, and I think it'll work.
See, Dutch, this is great, but this shows that you haven't been watching the television because they're just like repeating the same stuff for 8 months because that's what they do. But your idea, far, far better than what they're going to do.
But Big E, he's never had a shot, right or no?
Right.
Yeah.
And they got big plans for him. That's what I'm hearing. That's why they broke him up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and then he's got Kofi and Xavier back up, the cheerleaders for him. And there's somewhere to go from there because they could get jealous of him later on and kind of stomp his butt a little bit. Now you got something new. Because you got to have a story, guys. And these stories have to interrelate. Even if it's 6 months later, the fans remember that stuff. So I would go Roman and Big E. I think there's a lot to that. And it would be easy to build to that.
Yeah, for real. We got Travis Wilson saying Asuka should win and get her moment. Rhea has plenty of time to build herself to the star she will be. We also got Raju saying, did Dutch see the angle with Lacey Evans and Ric Flair? I love to hear his take. So did you see anything with the Lacey Evans, Ric Flair storyline?
I saw some of it. I love that angle because he's with her. Now she's pregnant. So the thought becomes, hey, Rick, with the story of the 10,000 women. So who's the father of that baby? Now that would make Charlotte and the baby half sisters, correct or no?
Yes, it would.
See? So,
and Lacey would be stepmom.
Right. So yeah, and she'd be the stepmom. Because I to me, it kind of booked itself. They're probably not going to do that, but I like that story because sometimes real life is better than anything you can make up. I did see that, and I liked it. I like Lacey Evans anyway.
Getting love for Lacey here, and then finally we got Fifth Generation Carney saying, this has been the best WrestleMania prediction show I have watched all week. Thanks, guys. And thank you, Fifth Generation Carney, for watching. Thank you all for watching our Sports Keto Wrestling WWE WrestleMania 37 preview. Let's do a little bit of plugs. First of all, Dutch Mantell, thank you so much for joining us. This is your debut on Sports Keto Wrestling, but you are going to be here for a whole bunch of content. You are one of the stars of this channel now. So please plug your social media and anywhere else they can find you.
Oh, I will. As soon as I can figure out how to use it. That's the only thing I got to do. I got to figure out how to use that stuff to my advantage. So it's just been sitting there looking at me. But hey, I've enjoyed this show, guys, because it's not all hardcore and, and maybe I can tell a few stories on here. You'll enjoy that because I only got 50 years experience behind me and the stories go back forever. Got stories about Undertaker. I got to tell you the guys a story later on about me and Undertaker getting pulled over by the state cops in Kentucky at gunpoint. That's a great story. True story too. And then me and that damn crazy Bradshaw on the road in Canada. That's crazy stories. I put it in my book. I wrote 2 books.
Yes.
The World According to Dutch, and then Tales from a Dirt Road. And I'm getting ready to write another one called Idiots I Have Known. So that should sell a lot too, because there's no lack of information and material I can use in that one. But hey, I enjoyed this, guys. What time does the SmackDown show come on? Right after SmackDown?
Yeah, right after SmackDown we're on. So you can catch Dutch on Smack Talk right here on the Sports Keto Wrestling YouTube channel immediately following SmackDown on Friday. Follow him on Twitter at Dirty D Mantell. He's got always talking about great things over there on his social media. So follow him on there and follow him right here on Sportskeeda Wrestling.
And you can follow me on Facebook. It's just Dutch Mantell there. You can follow me there. And I'm somewhere else. Where am I?
You got TikTok, Dutch?
I don't have a TikTok. I don't have that because I don't quite understand that. I understand it, but I don't know how you do it. I mean, I like to watch it because it's very entertaining. I watch it, but follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and I will see you tomorrow night on what's it called? Smack Talk.
Smack Talk. Yes.
Okay, Smack Talk. I got it. Okay, see you then, guys.
Love it, Dutch. Thank you so much for joining us. We got Jeremy. Please let them know where they can find you on social media as well.
Hopefully in jail.
I get enough heat on Twitter. All right. People are mad at me this week for things I've written. Very, very, very sad week. Very tough week. First off, this ruled. Thank you, SB3. Thank you, Sportskeeda. Thank you, Dutch Mantell. This is a lot of fun. You go to Fightful.com. Distraction, 3 p.m. Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern every Thursday. We do a show. We just goof off and do a bunch of silly stuff. Twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming over there, doing a bunch of different stuff. And yeah, Twitter @JeremyLambert88. You can follow me there. I'm in the gym every day getting shots up. That's where I'm at.
The point god here, Jeremy Lambert. And you can follow me at True Heel SP3. You can follow the gang True Heel Heat at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we are going live 5 p.m. Eastern time today with True Heel Heat 120, previewing the entire WrestleMania week. So for Dutch Mantell, for Jeremy Lambert, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been the WWE WrestleMania 37 preview for Sportskeeda Wrestling. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.